What if the thing that irritates you most about your partner or your child isn't actually their behavior? What if it's part of yourself you spent a lifetime suppressing? Not a comfortable question, I know. But the answer to it might actually be the most important thing you learn about your relationships all year. This is the work of projection. And today I'm going to show you exactly how it's running in your closest relationships and what to do about it in real time. Hey, welcome back to Mind Fusion Transformations. I'm Erica, transformational coach and nervous system educator. If you're new here, this channel is where we take the science of nervous system healing and make it something you can actually use in your real life, in your body, in your relationships, on an ordinary Tuesday when everything feels like too much. Today's video is part of our deep dive into what I call the uncomfortable mirror. The work of seeing how much of what we attribute to the people around us actually belongs to us. It's shadow work through a nervous system lens. And I want to be honest with you up front. This is not the most comfortable content I've put out, but it's some of the most freeing. Because here's the thing about shadow work. The moment you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And once you can't unsee it, you have a choice you didn't have before. Before we go further, if you haven't taken the relationship nervous system quiz yet, I want you to do that before or after this video. The link is in the description below. It'll show you which of your relationship nervous system patterns is most active right now, and it makes everything I'm about to say land on a completely different level. All right, let's get into it. Here's the sentence I want us to dismantle today. They make me so mad. It's one of the most common, most human, most neurologically incorrect sentences we speak. And I say that not to dismantle your feelings. Your feelings are completely valid. But because according to the nervous system science, and specifically Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory, the people in your life do not cause your nervous system state. They trigger a state that already exists within you. Here's the mechanism. Your nervous system runs a continuous, automatic, below conscious awareness process called neuroception. It's scanning your environment at all times for cues of safety or danger. And it does this not just based on what's happening right now, but based on the entire catalog of experiences your nervous system has ever stored. Every time someone was slow and that had a consequence. Every time mess in the house meant chaos was coming. Every time someone needed something from you and you didn't have enough left to give. Every time rest was a luxury you weren't allowed. All of this is in the catalog. And when something in your present environment matches a pattern in the catalog, even loosely, even just a little, your nervous system responds. Before your conscious mind has formed a single coherent thought, your body is already activated. So by the time you think, they're being so irresponsible, your nervous system has already been running for several seconds, activated not by them, but by history. They're not the source of the fire. They're the match. And the kindling, that's been building inside you a very long time. Let that land for a second because I know it can feel like I'm letting people off the hook. I'm not. The people in your life are responsible for their behavior, but you're responsible for your nervous system. And those are two completely different conversations. Today, we're having the second one. Here's what makes this more than just a know thyself conversation. We think we're mad at our partners for being messy or lazy or needy. But in the world of the nervous system, we're usually just mad at them for having the audacity to express a part of humanity that we were forced to kill off in ourselves to get where we are today. That isn't a conflict, that's a mirror. In psychology, this is called projective identification, and it goes beyond simply seeing your own stuff in someone else. It describes how we can unconsciously shape someone else's behavior to match the story our nervous system is telling. Here's what that looks like in real life. You're a high performer, mission mode, always 3 steps ahead. And underneath all of that competence is a deep, ancient fear of being out of control, of being helpless, of failing the mission. That fear is intolerable, so you exile it. You became more capable, more driven, more in control. And you begin, without realizing it, to communicate to the people around you that their pace, their approach, their capacity is insufficient. You don't say it directly. You might not say it at all. But it lives in the size, in the way you take over a task they started, in the look on your face when they do something differently than you would have done it. And over time, the people closest to you start to feel incompetent. They pull back. They stop trying. They offer less. They get smaller. And you look at that and say, see, I knew I couldn't rely on them. But your nervous system wrote that script. Your fear created the very dynamic it was most afraid of, as a way of managing the unbearable feeling of your own vulnerability. That is projective identification. That is the shadow at work in your closest relationships. And it runs completely on autopilot until you do this work. I want to walk you through what projection looks like inside each of the 3 nervous system archetypes we use on this channel: the fire starter, the island, and the unpredictable. And as I describe these, I want you to notice not what you think, but what you feel in your body. Because the body usually knows before the mind is ready to admit it. The fire starter's shadow. The fire starter moves fast, solves problems, holds everything together. On the outside, they look like the most capable person in the room they walk into. And often they are. But underneath that high velocity competence, there is a younger version of this person who learned that being out of control, being messy, being slow, being human was not safe. That there were consequences for imperfection. That love or stability or belonging was contingent on performance. The shadow projection of the fire starter is incompetence. They project it onto the partner who moves at a different pace, onto the child who doesn't perform to their standard, onto the colleague who takes longer, asks more questions, or approaches a task differently. The internal dialogue sounds like, if you would just do it right, I wouldn't have to be this way. The truth? They're attacking the softness and the slowness in others that they were never allowed to have in themselves. The island's shadow. The island is self-sufficient, quiet, emotionally contained. They don't ask for much, and they often don't offer much emotionally. Not because they don't feel deeply, but because somewhere along the way, their feelings were too much for the people around them. Their needs were inconvenient. Their emotions were a burden. The island learned that needing things is dangerous, so they buried the need. They became an island. And when someone close to them dares to need, to ask for reassurance, to want more closeness, to express vulnerability openly, the island system floods with something that looks like irritation, but feels underneath like suffocation. The shadow's projection, neediness. They call it too much, suffocating, clingy, dependent. The truth? They're judging the need for connection in others because they have successfully exiled the same need in themselves. And watching someone else express it freely is both threatening and quietly devastating. The unpredictable shadow. The unpredictable is the keeper of everyone else's comfort. They read every room. They smooth every conflict. They say yes when they mean no. They shapeshift to make others feel safe. And they have become so practiced at anticipating needs that often they don't know what their own feel like anymore. And underneath all that giving, there's a well of resentment so deep it has no visible bottom. Because they never say no. They never take up space. They never ask for what they actually need. They have built their entire sense of safety on being useful. So when someone in their life does, when a partner prioritizes themselves without apology, when a child advocates clearly for what they want, when their friend holds a healthy boundary with ease, the unpredictable system reads it as selfishness. The shadow projection, self-centeredness. How can you just do what you want when there's so much to do for everyone else? The truth? They're not angry at the person. They're grieving the self they were never allowed to be. Can you feel how much compassion this requires? Not just for yourself, for the people in your life who are also running these patterns. Because none of this is happening on purpose. None of this is malicious. This is a nervous system thing. This is a nervous system trying desperately to protect the human being from a pain it decided was unsurvivable a very long time ago. And that deserves tenderness, even when it's inconvenient, even when it shows up as a thing you said in the kitchen that you wish you could take back. Projection is just armor looking for a target. And the invitation of this work, the uncomfortable, essential, ultimately freeing work, is to look at what's underneath the armor. To ask, what am I not allowing myself to feel that I'm asking someone else to carry? Before you go looking for that answer, I want to give you a short somatic practice to bring you into your body first. Because this work doesn't happen in the analytical mind. It happens in the felt sense. So let's go there for just 30 seconds. Wherever you are right now, sitting, standing, driving, and just listening, I want you to take a breath. Not a performance breath, just let the air come in naturally. Now place one hand on your chest if you're able to do so, and say silently to yourself or out loud if you're somewhere private, I am allowed to feel what I feel. I am safe to look. That's the beginning. That's the door. You don't have to walk all the way through it today. You just have to know it's there. If you want to know which archetype is running your projections, and specifically which of the 6 relationship nervous system patterns is most active in your life right now, take the relationship nervous system quiz. The link is in the description below. It's free. It takes about 5 minutes, and it'll give you a level of clarity about your relationship patterns that most people spend years trying to find out. And if you're ready to do live somatic work, to move this through your body instead of just understanding it in your mind, the Stop the Spiral workshop is a 60-minute live experience where we do exactly that together. It's $37. It's the most efficient somatic work I offer. And it's designed for exactly the person who just watched this video. Also in the description. One last thing. If this video helped you see something about yourself, about someone you love, share it. Someone in your world is having this exact week. They're standing in their own living room carrying the heat that belongs somewhere else. And they don't have the words for it yet. This video might be the words. I'll see you in the next one.